You know, I've always loved telling stories. Even back before this channel was really a thing, I enjoyed making them. I used to take loose leaf paper and a pencil and just go about crafting worlds and characters that meant something to me. Many years ago, back around the time when Pokemon X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Saphire, as well as the two Mystery Dungeon games, came out on the Nintendo 3DS, me and my sister found ourselves hyperfixated on the world of Pokemon. She loved it when I would make her little short stories about the world of Pokemon. It seemed like every other night she was either reading them or asking me to read them to her, wondering when the sequel was gonna come out. And from that, I discovered my passion for telling stories. It's funny to think that something so small as a little fan fiction could snowball into me getting to do the things I love today. God truly works in mysterious ways. So, since you all seemed to want a Pokemon What If, I thought I might try something special and dig up an old story near and dear to my heart and share it with you, just to test the waters on what kinds of stories you might want in the future. This one's dedicated to my little sister, whose favorite Pokemon were and always will be Fennekin and the Eeveelutions. This one's for you. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. The world of Pokemon. It's a mysterious world filled with as many creatures as you can imagine. Big and small, airborne and under the ground, the Pokemon world exists parallel to our own. The world closest to ours is the world where trainers meet to do battle, where criminal organizations harness the power of nature for their own nefarious plans, and where pure-hearted people and Pokemon alike fight to defend the innocent from those who wish to resculpt the world into their own image, against the will of the creator who formed it. But further beyond that world is another, a world of pure adventure, ruled by Pokemon kind. This world is the one that we're going to explore today. Welcome to Oran Village, a small village on a distant continent. A very small village, where living in harmony with nature is the norm. The village is rife with farmers who seek to grow their own food and share all they have with the community. In a way, they're like a family. There's hardly any Pokemon in Oran Village who doesn't know the name of another villager. They're bound tightly, but more than that, the Pokemon of this village are adventurous, and though there is no official branch of the Expedition Society here, there is an unofficial guild. That guild is run by a young Umbreon named Everett. Ever since he was young, he had enjoyed exploring and getting into trouble. More than once, the villagers had to rescue him when he got downed in a dungeon beyond his level. This kind of left him as a bit of a nuisance, but he never gave up on his dreams, and now he's the leader of his own guild. It was through this dream that he met like-minded individuals who enjoyed dungeon crawling just like he did. There was Charlie, a silly little Charmander who always seemed to be getting into trouble, and his older brother Bill, a Bulbasaur, who seemed to be the most level-headed of them all. These two were only part-time explorers though, as they had to take care of a farm they inherited from their parents after an accident left them by themselves at a young age. The villagers, ever close like family, were sure to ensure Billy and Charlie had what they needed to keep going. But Billy had to grow up pretty quickly, which is probably what led him to being the wisest of the group, even if the age distance he held over everyone else didn't exceed more than 2 years. Then, last but definitely not least on this little team was Cesare, or just Chase for short. He was a Chespin, and much like Everett, he was a castout due to his overly explorative nature. Due to this though, the two were drawn to each other at a very young age and would go on expeditions together to find treasures, no matter how simple they were. In this way, it gave the villagers peace of mind. So long as those two were exploring together, they could help each other, which meant that there would be far less rescue missions. This was a good thing for them, and due to this, the idea to start up a sort of guild was proposed by Mayor Sparks. Even now, the old Raichu was visiting the guild to see how everyone was doing. "Bit of a slow day today," Everett said as he put away some maps. "Been planning our next great expedition. There's supposedly a great treasure in the Cofagrigus Pyramid, off in the Night Dune Desert, but supposedly it's protected by a pharaoh's curse. In that way, nobody in the Expedition Society or the guilds are willing to touch it. I'm thinking if we can conquer that dungeon, we might finally be recognized as an official guild and get some real expeditions that might benefit not only the village, but all Poke kind." The Raichu laughed. You always were idealistic, he said. Always looking for ways to help Pokemon, even the ones you don't know. Maybe one day you really will make it as an explorer. Everett smiled. Thank you, sir. It means a lot to me. Finishing putting his maps away, Everett looked back, noticing the mayor was still there. Is there something else you wanted to talk to me about, sir? He asked. Sparks began to nervously rub his hands together. Yes, there is. Something good for both the village and for you. You see, rumors have begun to spread of a legendary dungeon in these lands that holds a powerful object. Apparently, the rumors have gone global because we have many teams and even big-time guilds like Wigglytuffs and members of Ampharos's Expedition Society coming into town to collect the treasure that waits beyond Shadow Mountain. At this, Everett was ecstatic. You mean real explorers are coming to Oran Village, he asked, hopping over the table to stand in front of the Raichu, his smile wide. Sparks smiled. Yes, we've been preparing for more visitors ever since. There's a bit of an exploration race going down. They all want to get a hold of that treasure. What's the treasure? Everett asked. Something that's called the Life Ruby. Supposedly, it's a ruby with the power to grant life to anything that its light shines upon. I don't know much about it, but there's this rumor that any village that gets its paws on it suddenly becomes rich with produce. The Pokemon live extraordinarily long lives, and prosperity flows out so much that they have need of nothing ever again. I don't know how much of these rumors are true, but if any of it is, then it could turn our little village from a backwater town into a bustling hub. That's why I'm hoping to get you and your team together. I know you don't have as much experience as some of these other first-rate teams, but if you can manage to pull this off, it would help the village out tons, and would probably get your team's name out there. At least enough that you could join any guild you could ever dream of. Everett's mouth was practically drooling at the thought of such an adventure. Of course, I'd love to. When will the first expedition teams arrive? He asked. Currently, we have little washout teams that could never join a guild out there already, hoping to make a name for themselves, but the big teams shouldn't arrive until tomorrow. So, what do you say? Are you going to take this quest? The mayor asked. You know it. Everett went back to the drawer where he had put his maps and pulled one of them back out. Where did you say this treasure was? Shadow Mountain, Sparks said. Shadow Mountain, got it. Everett began to look through his maps. Looks like there's a lot of mountains in that area. Even getting through to the mountain will require a lot of crawling through lesser dungeons. And it also looks like along the way we might have to pass through Litwick's forest. Is that bad? The mayor asked. Everett took a deep breath and let it out. According to legend, this forest is haunted by a spirit that takes the form of a Litwick. Apparently it stalks its prey, forcing them to be lost in the woods eternally until they too become spirits. I'm thinking, if we're careful, we could be able to get around it, but we'll have to go the long way, he said. Looking up at the mayor, he spoke. Sorry, I'm getting carried away with myself. Coming back around to the mayor, Everett spoke again. We'll take the job. The mayor took Everett's paw in both of his and shook it vigorously. Then we have a deal. If you can bring back that ruby, I will make you and your team the stars of the town. We'll build a statue in your honor, and this place will become known as the home of the greatest explorers in history. The mayor then turned to leave. My office is always open, Everett. If you and your team need anything from supplies to items and gear, let me know, and I'll be sure to provide it. After this, the mayor left. Not much longer after this did Chess show up. Yo, was that the mayor I saw leaving HQ, he asked. Chess, you wouldn't believe it. We finally got our big break. What do you mean? Chess asked. It's a bit of a long shot, and we're definitely gonna have some competition, but it could be our chance to really make it. If that's true, then we need to go tell Bill and Charlie ASAP. And so Everett and Chess head to the farm to meet up with the rest of their team's members. And there, over a nice glass of pecha berry tea, Everett explains everything the mayor had told him. Wow, that sounds kinda dangerous, Bill said. Stop being such a fuddy-duddy, Charlie said. This sounds like an amazing adventure. Even if we don't get the ruby, we'll still get tons of experience. And if we can rub elbows with some of the more well-known teams, maybe we might make some powerful friends, Chess interjected. I know that, but let's just be sure we're balancing the risk with the reward. You never know what we'll find out there, Bill stated. I understand your apprehension, Everett said as he took a sip from his tea, but this really is our best chance. Like, if we can collect this ruby, it'll do 10 times more for our reputation than whatever was in Cophagrigus's pyramid. True, but remember, if the reward is greater than anything in Cofagrigus' pyramid, you can be sure that the risk will also be greater as well. Just want to make sure you're all thinking about this all the way before we do it.
I've thought about it, and I feel like we can handle it, Everett said.
I honestly agree, Chess chimed in.
Come on, Billy, Charlie said. We can't let a golden opportunity like this pass us by. What do you say?
Bill shook his head slightly and let out a sigh before smiling. I suppose if it's that important to you guys, how could I say no? There was a collective cheer.
Thank you so much, Everett said. I promise, you won't regret this.
And so, as the night wound down, the four of them decided to sleep over, though there was hardly any sleeping to be done. It was always exciting, the idea of going on a new expedition, but tonight was different altogether. The idea of the fame, fortune, and opportunity that lay before them kept them awake for quite some time. But as the moon lowered to the horizon and the sun rose again, the team of four rose up early. Heading out to the town, they saw it bustling with new Pokemon they'd never seen before. Prestigious teams adorned with golden badges, celebrities, and all manner of guilds. Besides the most well-known, there were rising star teams there, as well as lesser-known, more seedy teams that were only there for material gain. As they got to the mayor's office, Everett explained to the receptionist what it was that they were there for.
We're here for the supplies. Mayor Spark said he wanted to sponsor our expedition.
Ah, yes. This way, the Baneri said. Leading the team to the mayor's office, she opened the door. Mayor, the team you're sponsoring is here, she said. The Raichu rose from his seat behind the desk and came around the side.
Everett, he called out before hugging him. I'm happy to see the whole team here. Let me get your items.
He went to the nearby closet and opened up the door, pulling out 4 bags, each one filled with many items, from food to tools. Bringing it back, he presented it to them.
Here you go, he said, offering them each a bag. Thank you, Mayor, Everett said.
The mayor then spoke.
Actually, that's not the only thing I did for you. I have a surprise, too.
A surprise? What is it? The mayor went back to his desk and opened the drawer. From within, he pulled out 4 light blue bandanas and 4 golden clip badges.
What's that? Chess asked.
The mayor wrapped the bandana around Everett's neck and closed it with a clip before doing the same for the rest.
The town decided to take up a collection. We managed to get enough money together to officially get you recognized as your own guild. You're now known as Team Oran.
Everett was shocked. Some tears started to come to his eyes.
They all pitched in for this?
The mayor nodded.
Yes, you're about to embark on an expedition that could possibly make Oran Village one of the most prosperous in the entire world. The least we could do was pitch in a little to make it official.
Everett looked down at the badge around his neck. It looked like an Oran berry overlaid with gold. The mayor saw how Everett was looking at it.
You know, your father would be so proud of you. He always believed that you'd become a real expeditioner one day, and now you are, just like him.
Joyous tears finally began to fall as Everett remembered his father, a proud Jolteon who spent his every moment in the field discovering treasures. Everett's father was a hero, a member of a rescue team as well. His whole life was exploring. One day, he never came back. MIA, assumed to be dead. Despite that, there was no death more fitting for him. He lived and died to adventure, and now Everett was going to do the same. He was going to explore every dungeon he could until, like his father, the dungeons claimed him forever. But so long as there was breath in his lungs and fire in his eyes, he would make the most out of his life, and he would use his gifts to make the world a better place, just as his father would have wanted. Blinking away tears, Everett steeled himself with determination. We won't let you down, Mayor. We won't let Oran Village down. We'll find the Life Ruby and bring it back, I promise. Sparks pat Everett's head.
I'm sure you will. Now, off you go. Make me proud.
And so the team left the mayor's office, stopping by HQ just long enough to get the map that Everett had already charted. With hope in their hearts, they began to leave the village, heading out for Shadow Mountain. Through the grassy fields, through the forests and trees, they found themselves wandering into their first dungeon. The easiest way to traverse the dungeons was not by climbing over, but by going through. The ever-changing dungeons, hardly mappable, offered them a straighter path, if only a bit more dangerous. As they walked in, Everett told Charlie to take the lead.
With your flaming tail, you can light the way, Everett said.
Charlie, now in the front, began to lead the team through the narrow cave systems, a labyrinth of left and right turns. Surely there would be dead ends, but they would mark each path they took so they would know from where they'd come previously. That way they could backtrack just in case. As they pushed through by trial and error, they eventually reached a more straight and open pathway through the caves. Looking around, they found so many beautiful stones in the walls, each one glowing, as if telling them they were going in the right direction. But as they followed the gems, they heard voices ahead of them. "Just pry it," the voice shouted. Team Oren cautiously drew closer. When they did, they managed to see another team of Pokemon in the ruins. It was a team they had never seen before, likely a second-rate one. It possessed a Skitty, an Arbok, and a Persian. At the moment, the Persian was commanding the Arbok to pry the gems from the walls. "They're surely worth something," the voice of the Persian said. "But milady," the Arbok said, "why do we need these gems if we're looking for that ruby thing?" "Because I said so. Now pull the gem out. We'll take every gem from this blasted cave if we can." Everett saw this and spoke through a whisper. "Seems like a seedy team. I think we'd do best to find another way around." As soon as they turned around, though, they were caught off guard by a Fennekin standing there, ready to go on the offensive. "Well, what do we have here?" she said. "We're nobody," Bill said. "Just curious cave divers. We're not looking for any trouble." The Fennekin blew a flame in Bill's direction. "Just curious cave divers, huh? Wearing Explorer Guild neckerchiefs? Yeah, sure. Real believable." At that time, the Persian noticed them. "What's going on over there, Kenny?" she asked. "I found a couple sussy bakas stalking us from the shadows, Lady Lumiere," the Fennekin said. "Bring them here," the Persian demanded. The Fennekin began to push the group forward. Once they were out in the open, they were approached by the Skitty. "Oh, well-to-do, aren't ya?" the Skitty asked. "Is that real gold, or just plated?" she asked in regards to the golden badges. Everett said nothing. The Skitty scratched at it. "Wow, real gold," she said. Lady Lumiere pushed past the Skitty, knocking her to the ground. "Let me see." The large feline, imposing in shape and possessing a burning greed in her eyes, looked closely at Everett's badge. "Interesting. We must have some real big shots with us here today." "We don't want any trouble," Chess said. "Nobody wants trouble," Lumiere replied. "Well, nobody in their right mind, that is, but all the same, it finds us either way." The Persian began to walk around the team slowly. "So let me guess, you're here to find the life ruby." Everett was silent. "That's fine. There's no need to speak. It's written all over your face. Well, just to let you know, your mission is impossible. You should just turn back and head home now." "I think you're right," Bill said. "We probably should be on our way now. Sorry to bother you." Bill turned around to lead the team out, hoping that they already understood his intentions. But before he could go anywhere, Kenny puffed another of her flaming breaths at him. The Persian approached the Bulbasaur. "Ah, you must be the adult of the group. Very wise indeed, except I can see clear through you. You want to leave this cave and simply find a way around us. You wouldn't go home. What to do with such cheeky rivals," the Persian said. "We could probably off you and leave you here to rot in the caves. After all, the law doesn't exist out here. It's every Pokemon for themselves. And considering that most of you appear to be low-level Pokemon, it wouldn't be that hard, I think." Stepping up to Charlie, she let out a gentle breath on his tail, threatening to blow the little flame out. "But you know what? I'm a merciful woman. I wouldn't destroy the dreams of such a starry-eyed group of individuals such as yourselves, not without reason. All I need to do is ensure that you can't complete your journey. So how about this? You give us your bags and those gold badges, and we'll let you walk right out of here. Oran Village isn't that far away. I'm sure you could make it." "And what if we say no?" Everett asked. The Persian laughed. "Trust me, little Umbreon, you don't want to say no," she said, her second sentence carrying an intense amount of gravity. "Now, hand it over." Everett was about to snap, about to issue a straight challenge to the Persian, but he felt one of Bill's vines on his shoulders. Looking back at Bill, the Bulbasaur shook its head. "We're outmatched," he whispered. Everett looked back to the Persian and let out a sigh. Removing the bag from his side and the golden badge from his scarf, he handed them over to the Persian. The rest did the same. "Good. Wise move. Perhaps your friend is even wiser than I gave him credit for. Now, get out of this cave. I'd better never see your faces on this expedition again." The Persian collected the items and turned to move on. Kenny followed after her, sticking her tongue out at Team Oren. Bulbasaur led them back.
I can't believe we just let that happen, Everett said. How could we so willingly give up our supplies, our badges? We're finally a real official guild and we just threw it all away?
Well, what did you expect us to do, Everett? Die? Bill asked.
Those 4 were a far higher level than we were.
We would have only gotten hurt, or worse. And for what? To try and keep something we would have lost anyway? There's no point.
That's what you say, but we could have taken them. There's more to a battle than just levels, points, and stats.
You are absolutely right, Everett, but I doubt those things could have changed the outcome.
Are you so sure? Everett said. I think we can take back what's ours.
And how, pray tell, are we going to do that? Everett smiled and began to explain. As Arbok finally pried the large gemstone from the wall, he let out a sigh of relief.
Good,
Lumiere said as she admired the precious mineral. Now, get the rest of them. Arbok looked around and saw how many were left.
You've got to be kidding me, he shouted.
And be sure to speed the process up. We can't spend all day here. If we wait too long, the other teams will beat us to Shadow Mountain. Now get back to work. Everett, peeking around the side, pointed up toward the ceiling so Bill could see.
See those stalagmites up there? I feel like if Chess hits them with a pin missile in just the right way, they'll come crashing down. If we're lucky, it'll knock them out.
Only if we're lucky though, Bill said.
It's better than nothing. Are you gonna tell me that you're okay with slinking back to the village with your tail between your legs?
I don't have a tail per se, Bill said. I see your point though, but I'd rather we survive.
What's the point in me surviving if I lose my dream?
Bill looked down with a sigh. If you're that adamant about it, then maybe we can give it a try. But if it fails, and we die, well, I'm gonna be kicking your butt all the way across Poke Heaven. Everett smiled.
Deal.
Chess then got into position. Everett began to explain to him where to aim.
You got it?
Chess nodded. Everett counted him down.
3, 2, 1, now!
Chess fired his pin missiles up at the ceiling, causing the stalagmites to fall. Most of the CD team was taken down, all save Lumiere, who just before the stalagmites fell, used agility to dodge the attack. Looking back at the team, she growled. I tried to be reasonable. I tried to be nice, but you just had to keep getting in my way. And now I'm gonna make sure that you never get in my way again. Everett used Swift to attack her, but she dodged with agility once more. However, she didn't yet realize that she wasn't the target. Everett's star-based projectiles circled back around and struck one more stalagmite, causing it to fall, bonking Lumiere clean on the noggin. For a moment, she kept trying to reach them before the darkness overtook her, causing her to pass out.
Wow, I can't believe that actually worked, Charlie said as he poked Lumiere with a stick. Hurry up, gather your things. We gotta get out of here.
Grabbing what was rightfully theirs, they escaped the dungeon and continued on their journey. Due to this battle, their experience went up and many of them leveled, growing stronger, so much so that Charlie actually began to evolve. The whole team was in awe. Everett smiled. I remember when I first evolved, he said. It truly was a magical moment for me. Pay attention, because Charlie can only do this one more time. As Charlie was covered in light, he seemed to grow larger and stronger. As the light dissipated, what stood there was something not unlike a Charmander and definitely not a Charizard. More like something in between, a Charmeleon.
Wow, Charlie said as he looked at his hands. I feel so much stronger and edgier.
I was not looking forward to these days, Bill said. Chess then looked back at Bill. What about you? You're 2 years older than all of us. When are you gonna transform into an Ivysaur? Never, Bill said. I could have transformed a little while ago, but I chose not to. I like being a Bulbasaur. From there, they continued their journey, only stopping to make camp. As they sat there around the fire, they talked about their journey so far, and where they might go after this.
We're going to cut around Litwick's forest. Anyone who tries to wander through there ends up getting lost. According to the rumors, Litwick chases you around in circles until you're lost. And when you get lost, it's said that the fog absorbs you, and you become a missing no.
Chess covered his head. No, I don't want to become an L-shaped fuzz. Surely that's not true, Bill said.
What makes you think it's not? Charlie asked.
Well, for instance, if supposedly nobody enters that forest and comes out of it alive, then where do the rumors come from? This actually made Charlie stop and think.
You're right. Where does this information come from?
Everett shrugged.
I don't know, but it's believed by the rescue team, so they designated it a no-fly zone. They said if you entered those woods and get lost, they're not coming to rescue you. Oh, Charlie said. I think we should avoid that forest if we can, he continued.
Bill nodded.
I second that. Still, I was thinking about something, Everett said. After running into those thieving explorers, I can't help but think we need to get a little stronger.
How do you suppose we do that? Chess asked. Everett pulled out his map.
According to this, it says that this valley here leads its way to a settlement. Apparently there's a dojo there that's run by a pair of martial arts masters. If we stop by there, we can get some practice in before we continue on. You never know when we're gonna run into another problem. It's best that we get ready for it while we still have the chance.
I agree, Chess said. If we can all get strong enough to handle ourselves, then we might have a better chance at succeeding.
Then it's settled. Tomorrow we stop by the dojo before continuing our way to Shadow Mountain.
The next day, they woke up bright and early. Heading out through the valley, they made their way to an old settlement where they could load up on more food and supplies. From there, they stopped in at the dojo. It was a beautiful home in the wabi-sabi aesthetic. It had imperfections, yes, but the style of the home, not too dissimilar from that of a pagoda, along with its beautiful garden and koi pond, made it quite feel like home. Well lived in and well loved. Coming to the front door, Everett knocked on the door with his forehead. The door opened to show a Mian Xiao. "How may I help you?" she asked with a heavy accent that told them that she was not native to these lands.
We were hoping to learn how to fight from a master, Chess said. We're on a great quest, and we felt the need to train ourselves for whatever we may face.
The Mian Xiao offered a smile. "Of course. Come in. I'll show you to your new master." Leading them in, the Mian Xiao brought them to a Lucario that sat meditating beside a Greninja. The Mian Xiao came to the Lucario's side and kissed his cheek. "Lucas, dear, there are new prospective students here to see you." Lucas thanked her for the news and kissed her cheek. As the Mian Xiao left, Lucas spoke to the Greninja.
That should be enough for today, Sasuke. Why don't you go help your mother for now? I need to tend to our guests.
"Yes, father," the Greninja said. Rising to his feet, he offered a slight bow of honor toward his father before offering the same to Team Oran. He then left the room. The Lucario turned to face them.
Welcome to our humble abode. I'm Lucas, master of this home, and the master of the martial arts you seek. How may I help you? We were thinking of a crash course in self-defense, Everett asked. Ah, the path of defense. An enlightened path. The toll for this road will be 40 Poké Dollars.
"You mean the path of enlightenment isn't free?" Chess asked.
No. The path of enlightenment is 40 Poké Dollars, plus taxes and any other fees that might be incurred upon this home. It would normally be 60, but you're getting the guild discount, he said, pointing to their badges.
Well, 40 Poké Dollars isn't that much for us all to be taught.
You misunderstand, Lucas said. It'll be 40 Poké Dollars each.
Isn't that kind of highway robbery? Bill asked.
I prefer to call it Path of Enlightenment Tribute.
Lucas smiled again before holding out his paw.
40 Poké Dollars, please.
And so they trained. They spent all day training, fighting, and building experience and levels. Chess and Everett in particular were sparring against each other, but after enough time, Chess decided to take a moment to rest. Hot, sweaty, hungry, and tired, he sat by the porch, feeling like any moment now the Grim Reaper might take him. That's when Mian Xiao showed up, offering him some sweets. "These Poké Puffs are rather fresh," she said. "Would you like some?" No more than a second passed between her asking that question that Chess wasn't all over the plate, stuffing them all in his mouth. It was like watching a train wreck. Mian Xiao couldn't look away, and she would never be the same again after watching this. When Chess finished, he sat down. "That was good. He tried to offer a thanks in the language of her people. Dumbo the hairy macho gozamasu. This poor attempt at speaking her language drew an endearing smile from the Mian Xiao. She decided to sit with him. As she sat there, she watched as Everett trained with Bill, and Charlie got special training from Lucas himself. "Your team is impressive," she said. "To seek out training in the midst of such a long quest takes patience, something so few teams these days possess. They generally rush through their dungeons without stopping to check every corner. In doing so, they often miss new items, quest lines, and even friends." Chess nodded. "I wouldn't call us patient, but whatever we are, you can bet it's thanks to Everett." Mian Xiao smiled. "You speak highly of the Umbreon. Is he your friend?" she asked. Chess nodded. "More than a friend, a best friend. Closer to brothers, actually. His dad was my hero, the great adventurer, Elias the Golden. I used to read stories about him when I was younger. He inspired me to become an explorer. Living alone for as long as I did, I always studied exploration and ways to enter dungeons, how to survive.
Because of that spirit and how many times I got in trouble, nobody in the village really wanted anything to do with me. I decided one day that I was gonna find a real treasure that would prove my worth to everyone. But, well, I bit off more than I could chew. I got hurt, really bad. Chess raised his arm to show a deep scar running across his ribs. I was sure I was gonna die in that dungeon. I was ready to accept my fate, born into this world a nobody, leaving it the same way. It hurt, but maybe it was for the best. Or at least that's what I told myself. But then he appeared, a little Eevee with eyes as bright as the sun. He pushed into the dungeon and found me. Despite how far he'd come, how many items he found, he threw it all away just to get me out. I owe him my life. That was the start of our little brotherhood. Time passed, we grew older. He shared his dreams with me and I shared mine. We formed this little organization, became its founding members. We went exploring together. No matter what we faced, he always had my back. I think it might have been our friendship that turned him into what he is now, a powerful Umbreon. Not much longer after that, Charlie and Billy joined us part-time. They're close friends of mine, best friends even. But nobody is quite like Everett. He's more than a friend, he's a brother. Mian Xiao smiled. It sounds like you two would do anything for each other. We really would. I'd even die for him if I had to. I love him like family, because to me, that's exactly what he is. As their training drew to a close, they paid up what Lucas told them they had to. I still think this is highway robbery, Bill said, giving Lucas his agreed-upon salary. Expensive, yes, but at least you got the experience worth the price. As they prepared to leave, though, Mian Xiao stopped them. You four are very passionate about not only your adventures, but your team. I would like to offer you something special in return, she said. She offered each of them a rare candy. What's this? Everett asked. This candy is created with love. It's a special recipe of mine that not only tastes good, but is packed with special vitamins and properties. If you eat it, not only will it fill up your belly, it will also increase your level by 1, making you even stronger. Each member of the team took one. Thank you for your hospitality, Everett said with a bow. And from there, they continued on their journey. For quite some time, they kept going, stopping only to eat and sleep. But eventually, after circumventing Litwick's forest, they made it to Shadow Mountain. According to what Mayor Sparks gave us, they say that the Life Ruby is deep within a cave at the top of the mountain. As they looked up, they saw the tip of the mountain disappear into the clouds. We'd best be careful. Opening the bag of things Mayor Sparks gave them, they began to pull out their climbing equipment. It would help them keep together. Tying a rope around each of their waists, they began to make their ascent. It would take them all day to get to the top of the mountain. The sun was already beginning to set, but eventually they made it to the top. Entering the cave, they looked around. There were no other teams here, it seemed. None that yet lived, anyway. There were statues everywhere. Freaky statues, each one depicting a Pokemon in the throes of death. What is this place? Chess asked. I don't know, but it's not something I want to stick around to figure out, Everett said. They moved deeper into the cave. Reaching the far wall, they saw it. A curious, glowing, brilliant cut red ruby. That must be it, Charlie said. That's gotta be the Life Ruby. Drawing closer, Charlie volunteered to go nab it. Stepping up on the pedestal, he looked at the ruby. Scratching his chin for a moment, he pulled out a bag of sand. Looking at the ruby again, he began to pull handfuls of sand out. Reaching out carefully, he swapped the bag of sand for the ruby. Got it, he said. I got it!
Yes, you did,
came another voice, deep and menacing.
But even if you collected that gem, can you be sure you can keep it?
The team looked around to see where the voice was coming from, but due to the structure of the cave, the echo made it hard to pinpoint the exact location. Who's there? Everett asked. From the shadows above, something moved. Looking up, a face appeared, red and beaked. Its teal eyes stared down at them menacingly. Everett almost peed himself when he saw it. It's Yveltal. Charlie pulled himself away from the pedestal. The large bird-like Pokemon dropped down to the ground before them.
And where exactly do you think you're going with my treasure?
Your treasure? Bill asked.
Of course. Did you think treasures just showed up in caves? It asked. All of you, explorers, all the same. You walk into someone's home and take whatever you want, thinking it's yours just because you found it. I suppose in a way, I can respect that. After all, I'm no different. But what is different between us is that what's mine, I have the power to protect. The question is, can you?
Yveltal stomped closer to them. Giving off an air slash, he struck Bill, knocking him back. The attack was super effective against him, and considering the strength difference between the Bulbasaur and the Yveltal, he was left unconscious. "Billy!" Charlie called out. Turning around, filled with anger, Charlie used Flamethrower. The legendary Pokemon was disturbed by the attack, but it did very little to damage him.
Is that really the limit of your power? Pathetic.
Striking Charlie with a Hyper Beam, he knocked Charlie out as well. All that was left was Chess and Everett. "We gotta get out of here," Everett shouted. "We can't leave Charlie and Billy," Chess said. "I never said we should, but regardless, we can't just stand here, we need to flee." "What should we do then?" Chess asked. "One of us causes a distraction, the other gathers up the others, and we head out. Since you're a biped, you carry them out, Chess. I'll distract him. Now, let's split up." Chess ran right and Everett ran left. Yveltal would have to choose who to attack first. Before he could decide, Everett decided for him by using Swift to strike. Hurt by the attack, Yveltal let out a screech and began to chase after him. As Everett ran, he used Agility to increase his speed and dodging capabilities. Yveltal fired an Oblivion Wing at Everett, hoping to absorb his life energy and kill him on the spot, but due to Everett's agility, he managed to dodge the initial blast, only sent flying by the concussive force of the attack. He tried to catch himself as he skid across the ground, but he hit a wall. He only managed to just get out of the way as a Hyper Beam was fired.
Why are you running? Yveltal asked. Are you not strong enough to protect what is yours?
And just then, as Yveltal was speaking to Everett, he spoke again.
And where do you think you're going?
Chess, from behind, carrying Bill and Charlie, froze. Looking back, he saw Yveltal looking at him. Everett, in a desperate attempt to reclaim Yveltal's attention, shot another round of Swift Stars at him, but they were ignored.
Did you really think that there was anything you could do in this cave that I would not know about? You cannot escape. There is no hope for you.
Yveltal would then use Air Slash against Chess. Being that Chess was grass type, this technique was super effective against him too. Chess went down like the others. As he laid there, he reached out toward Everett, as though he could reach him from this distance. "Run!" he shouted before passing out. Yveltal turned back toward Everett.
Yes, Umbreon. Run! Run away! Save your skin!
Everett pressed himself up against the wall. He began to take stock of all the attacks he knew. There had to be something he could use. Anything. He tried Confuse Ray. Despite Yveltal being so much stronger, this non-physical attack managed to cloud his mind.
Why you? I'll kill you,
he said as he shook his head, trying to rid himself of the confusion. Yveltal's eyes were going everywhere, unable to focus. Using this as his chance, Everett rushed to his friends. He struggled to get each on his back. As he managed to get Chess onto his back, he looked back and saw that Yveltal was starting to glow brightly. Crap! He struggled to get Bill and Charlie on his back too. Carrying so many others really weighed him down. He could hardly move, but he had to. He began slowly moving toward the entrance. "Please, I need to get away," he said. However, as he reached the halfway point, Yveltal collected his senses and proceeded to execute his sky attack. Knocking Everett and all of his friends to the side, Yveltal took flight, grabbing Everett in his talons and flying him out over the outside of the mountain.
Let me guess, Yveltal shouted over the winds. You, like all these other explorers I've killed, came from Oran Village.
The talons dug into Everett's skin. It hurt, badly. Yveltal then spoke.
I'm tired of you explorers trying to take what's, by all the rules of nature, mine. Maybe when I'm finished with you, I'll take a flight over to that little village. Maybe if I cause a little mayhem there, they'll finally learn their lesson. But first, it's time to teach you why you can't cheat death forever.
From there, Yveltal let go of Everett. Everett began to plummet. As he fell, he saw trees and branches coming his way. He was certain he would die. He simply had to prepare for it. He wondered if this was the last thing his father saw before he died too. Dad, I wish I could have had as many adventures as you. Maybe when I see you again, you can take me on one. Closing his eyes, he prepared. He hit the branches hard, each one snapping, popping, breaking under him. Or maybe those were his bones breaking. He had no idea. Eventually, he hit the ground, the fog overtaking him. As he laid there for a moment, his body unable to feel the pain of the fall anymore, he identified his location. He had been dropped into Litwick's forest. A moment later, his eyes rolled up and he passed out. Enveloped by darkness, Everett began to wonder if he had died. But a moment later, he heard something. It sounded like crying, followed by a gasp. He felt something cold and wet rub up against him before it pushed him on his side. It was a nose, a Fennekin's nose. His eyes opened for a moment to see Kenny was standing over him. He groaned as if to ask a question, but no words came out. Kenny was in a bad spot. Lady Lumiere had decided to take a shortcut to the mountain, and in doing so, had led her team into Litwick's forest, and now they were lost in the fog.
Please, Umbreon dude, she said. You gotta help me. I don't want to turn into a missing note too.
She loaded the injured Everett up onto her back. Everett let out a grunt of pain as she moved him.
Let's get out of here.
She looked around.
But which way is out?
It was then that an eerie purple flame appeared in the distance. Upon seeing it, Kenny began to flee. But the longer she ran, the more it became apparent that she wasn't getting anywhere. No matter where she went, the purple flaming candle was not far behind. And no matter where she went, she always seemed to end up in the same place, like they were caught in a loop. Everett was no longer afraid of death due to his injured state. What he was focused on was surviving, and this put his mind into overdrive, going over everything he knew about this forest, all the stories, and Bill's observation from earlier about having at least one survivor made him wonder.
Stop running,
Everett said, his hushed, whispering words passing through his blood-stained lips.
Why? Kenny asked.
I want you to follow the Litwick.
Are you crazy? You've read the stories, the Pokédex entries. They lead people into the spirit world and absorb their life force, using it as fuel for their fires.
It's not gonna make a difference, Everett said. If we keep running, we're both gonna die and become missing now.
If we go back, we'll become missing no too. Or worse,
Kenny shouted, thinking the fall scrambled Everett's brains. And maybe they had, but at this moment, he was sure about it.
If we want to survive, we gotta do something different. Running results in death, but nobody ever follows. Follow it. If we die either way, then let's die trying something new.
Kenny hated that this was making sense.
Fine, I'm trusting you. You better know what you're talking about.
She turned around as the Litwick appeared once more. Gulping, she began to step toward it. It didn't attack her, but indeed began to lead her away. Kenny followed for a while. As moments passed, Everett began to lose consciousness again. He didn't know how long he was out, but he wasn't awake for anything that happened next. Kenny was beginning to worry for him. He was her only companion besides this strange Litwick. She needed him around, if for no other reason than for emotional support. Eventually, though, the Litwick led them into a strange location different from the rest of the forest. There was no fog. Instead, it was warm. A white tree stood before them, a myriad of glowing gems hanging from its branches, like lights on a Christmas tree.
What is this place?
She asked the Litwick, but it did not respond. Please, do not mind him. He's mute, a new voice said, kind and light in tone.
Who goes there?
Kenny asked. From the tree, a creature appeared. It was tall, slender, and upon its head were antlers coated in gems. I am Xerneas. I am the physical incarnation of the Tree of Life that helps sustain this world.
That's the Tree of Life?
Kenny asked, looking at the strange white structure behind Xerneas. In a way, yes, Xerneas said. This is one of the many routes spread throughout the world, and through it I may travel seamlessly. Kenny let out a sigh.
Please, we're lost, and my friend, he's...
Xerneas saw Everett upon her back. Kenny gently laid him on the ground.
Can you help him? She asked.
Xerneas drew near to Everett and investigated his condition. He's been gravely wounded, and his soul has nearly left its vessel, but his spirit is strong and pure. I believe I can help him. Xerneas then used the move Moonlight to begin to heal Everett. Eventually, Everett began to awaken. This one has a close connection to the moon, Xerneas said. That is fitting for one such as this. As Everett began moving again, Xerneas spoke. Everett, are you with me? Everett began to sit up. How did you know my name? He asked. Xerneas smiled. I am the manifestation of the Tree of Life. I make it my job to know the names of everything living on this planet. And I know you well, young one. Tell me, how may I help you? My team. We were attempting to find the Life Ruby, but we were attacked by Yveltal. You sought the Life Ruby. For what purpose? Xerneas asked.
to help my village prosper, to help it give life unto all the crops and make our village plenteous, to share food with all the hungry Pokemon of the world.
Xerneas smiled. A noble goal indeed, but I fear you've miscalculated. The Life Ruby does not give life to anything, but instead takes it.
What? Everett questioned.
Sadly, it is true, Everett. The Ruby kills. That is its only purpose, and the reason why it is so covetously held by Yveltal.
Then our journey was for nothing. I put my friends in danger for nothing. Everett shouted, rage building up in his spirit. How could he be so foolish?
Do not be so hard on yourself, Everett. You, like all of us, are a fallible creature. You cannot know anything. Your intentions were pure.
No, they weren't. The reason we came on this journey wasn't noble. It wasn't to feed the hungry, not primarily. It was to gain notoriety, to become great explorers.
Is that so bad, though? Xerneas asked. You were concerned with the world, but you also have dreams, as we all do. You have made mistakes, but a salvageable hypocrisy is superior to murderous intent. But the question now is, what are you going to do?
Everett sat there silently. I need to stop Yveltal. He's going to destroy my village for my mistakes. I need to save Oran Village, no matter the cost.
Xerneas smiled. I see something deep within you, something bright. You are an Umbreon, born in the darkness, surrounded by the darkness. But just like the moon, there is something bright shining in you deeply. That light is not yours, but comes from a greater source, and you use that light to help others see, to do what is right, and to have hope in the darkest of hours. Because of that, there is something I wish to give you, something that will help you shine bright. From within, Xerneas produced a large orb. It looked almost like a pearl, completely white and opaque. It gave off a subtle glow. She gave it to Everett. In that moment, his body was flooded with a bright light, and he transformed. His black fur turned white, and his golden rings began to glow and take on a more physical form, like crests of gold protruding from his body.
Whoa, did you mega evolve or something? Kenny asked as she looked him over. I don't know, Everett said. Looking up, he questioned Xerneas. What happened?
That item I gave you was a moon pearl. With it, you can shine brighter than ever, and you take on something I'd like to call your full moon mode. With it, you gain the fairy typing to go along with your dark typing, something that contrasts, something that shows that you stand separate from the darkness inside of you. And with this form, you gain an ability that resists damage from fairy type moves on your dark type half, while buffing the damage done by your fairy type moves. With this, you should have the ability to protect your village, but you had best go soon. At any moment, Yveltal could strike.
I need to get my friends first. Can you help me get back to Shadow Mountain?
Xerneas smiled. Of course. With a nod of her head, Xerneas parted the trees and fog. You are free to go as you please. Good luck, Everett, and Godspeed. Together with Kenny, the two rushed back to the cave where they found Chess, Bill, and Charlie in a cage.
Everett? Charlie questioned, seeing him. In the flesh, he said, trying to undo the lock. Kenny pushed past him. Let me handle this, she said as she began to pick the lock. What's she doing here? Charlie asked. Let's just say that she's no longer part of a team. We decided to team up to rescue you guys. Got it, Kenny said. The lock fell off and the door opened.
Well, it's all well and good, Bill said as he kept sitting in the cage, but there's no way for us to get back to Oran Village in time. Not only does Yveltal have a head start, but he can fly. We'd have to walk back. There's no chance for us to catch up. The team seemed to grow depressed. Billy was right. There was no way for them to catch up, unless Everett looked towards their items. Running over, he began digging through their bags.
Yes, they're still here.
What is it? Chess asked. Everett pulled out 4 rare candies. Running back to the cage, he gave them to Charlie.
Eat them. Why? Charlie asked. Because if Mianxiao's right, and each one will level you up, then that's 4 chances that you get to evolve. How will that help us? Charlie asked.
Because a Charizard can fly, Bill said with excitement. I mean, it's kind of a long shot, he stated, slightly slipping back into pessimism.
Perhaps so, Everett said, but this is the best chance we have. Now eat them, Charlie.
Charlie nodded. Pulling the wrappers off, he swallowed all 4 at once. They waited and waited, but nothing happened. It didn't work, Chess said. In anger, Charlie punched the cage.
Darn! Of all the times I need to evolve, now's the time and it won't happen? This is Toro's doo-doo.
Charlie, Chess asked.
I stinking hate evolution. Why does it have to be so complicated?
Charlie, Chess called out.
What is it? He snapped at Chess.
Chess pointed to his hand. You're glowing. Charlie began to grin.
I'm evolving!
Outside of the cave, the air was cool and the moon was high in the sky. Like a rocket, the form of a Charizard carrying 4 Pokemon on its back shot out. Its movements were shaky due to being new to this whole flying biz, but it was workable. From the ground below, Xerneas and Litwick watched. Xerneas smiled. Good luck, Everett. The village was under siege. The mayor was hiding under his desk as the ground shook. The village was a peaceful place and had no military forces. They did, however, have exploration guilds and teams here. The more experienced and serious of them began to fight back against Yveltal, trying to link up together and focus their attacks. But regardless of how hard they tried, they couldn't defeat this Pokemon, not while he still held the Life Ruby. His Oblivion Wing was absolute, and any caught in its light had no choice but to give up their life force and be consumed, their frame turning to stone. Just as everything seemed to be at its worst though, the shadow of a Charizard could be seen in the distance, as the early morning began to give off a red glow. The sun was rising behind them, and as they came in, Yveltal saw them.
You escaped, and the first thing you did was come straight to me.
He began to laugh.
I admire your tenacity. Come, I'll let you die the hero's deaths you crave so badly.
Get to the ground, Charlie shouted, his voice now much deeper, his fangs baring. Everett and the others jumped off to the ground as Charlie rammed Yveltal into a building. Yveltal managed to push Charlie off.
Powerful. You're finally worth my time. Maybe this will be a battle to remember, the best I've had since that mutant Ditto. I welcome the challenge. Show me if you're strong enough to protect what you love.
Firing a hyper beam, he knocked Charlie back. As Yveltal exited the hole in the wall Charlie had put him in, Team Oran began to focus their attacks. Billy used Razor Leaf, Chess used Pin Missile, Kenny used Flamethrower, and Everett used Moonblast. Most of these attacks did nothing but annoy their opponent, save for Moonblast. As soon as Yveltal was hit, he was sent crashing back through the wall. Charlie managed to get back to his feet. As Yveltal reappeared, he looked to Everett.
Wait. What is with you? What's that form?
Shaking his head, he spoke.
No matter what form you take, so long as I have the Life Ruby, I'm invincible.
Flying up into the air, Yveltal fired an Oblivion Wing at some of the other explorers aiding Team Oran, absorbing their life energy and channeling it through the Ruby to regenerate any damage done to him. We gotta get that Ruby away from him, Everett called.
You got it,
Charlie called out. He then flew up to attempt to rip it free from Yveltal, only to be thrown to the side. Billy began to swing from building to building with his Vine Whip in an attempt to get enough air to reach Yveltal's necklace that held the ruby. Reaching out, he managed to touch the ruby. However, Yveltal noticed, and with a flap of his mighty wings, he blew Billy away. Everett, seeing his friends in danger, decided to get more involved. Protect Kenny, Chess, he called out. No, I won't let you do this alone, Chess shouted. It's fine, just keep her safe. Chess looked back at Kenny and then to Everett. You can't make me do that. Everett was already gone by this time. He was jumping from wall to wall, running along the rooftops to get a better angle. Hey, over here, bird brains, he shouted. He even used Dark Pulse to get Yveltal's attention. Yveltal turned to look at Everett.
Pathetic. Even with all that power, you still can't do anything against me.
Yveltal hovered there, ready to accept Everett's challenge. Firing a hyper beam, Everett managed to dodge before retaliating with Moonblast. It was the best move Everett had, and the only one that seemed to be effective at all against Yveltal. The legendary Pokemon was struck by the attack. Angered, he grabbed Everett again with his talons and raised him into the air.
You won't be so lucky this time.
Everett managed to break free by biting Yveltal's leg. Yveltal let out a shout of pain.
Why you?
Everett climbed up Yveltal's body, getting to his back. Yveltal tried to shake him off, but Everett latched on with his teeth and claws. Once more, he used Moonblast to bring Yveltal down. As they fell, Yveltal shook Everett loose. The two crashed into the ground hard. As Everett laid there, his brain jarred, he saw that Yveltal was beginning to rise up again to his feet.
You foolish, insignificant, weak little Pokemon. You dare stand up against me, defy me? I am the god of death. You will perish for your pride.
Yveltal rose into the air to charge up his Oblivion Wing. Everett was hurt. All he could do was cast moonlight to try and heal his own wounds, hoping he could get enough health before the attack fired. Hurry, 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 he shouted, as if trying to make the move go faster, but it was of no use. He couldn't move. Yveltal fired. Everett saw it coming. He closed his eyes and awaited the end. The end didn't come though. Opening his eyes, Everett saw something that shook him to his core. Chess was standing there between him and Yveltal, his arms spread wide. He growled. Hurry, Everett, he shouted. Chess, what are you doing? He cried out. Chess smiled through his pain. I'm proving Yveltal wrong. I'm going to be strong enough to protect what I love. Chess let out a battle cry. Everett, finally able to move, managed to stand. Chess stood there for a moment, huffing and puffing. Everett, Chess slowly began to turn to stone. You were my best friend. You saved my life. Now I'm glad I could return the favor. Tears streaming down Everett's face as his eyes and expression displayed disbelief. Chess then spoke. My dreams end here, but yours can keep going. Please, fulfill our dreams. For both of us. The stone now up to his face, Chess offered one last statement. Wherever you go, I'll be with you. I love you, bro. And with that, Chess turned to stone.
How pitiful, Yveltal said. A wasted life. And what for? To save you? To buy you an extra 3 seconds? I'll never understand you idealistic Pokemon. Don't you know that good guys finish last?
Gritting his teeth, Everett spoke.
Don't you dare speak to me. You shouldn't be breathing anymore, let alone talking to me.
Yveltal laughed.
Oh, is little baby getting a rage amp? Good. Show me what this power of yours is. I crave to see it.
Everett, looking into the stone eyes of Chess, felt his emotions build up. He began to stack agility, using it over and over again. As the battle resumed, Yveltal used Air Slash, but Everett dodged, having maxed out his speed stat. Drawing closer, Everett used his Moonblast again, but Yveltal dodged it.
Same tired move. You're a one-trick ponyta.
Yveltal began to glow as he prepared Sky Attack. Everett used Quick Attack, the damage of this being increased from his increased speed. Yveltal was knocked back but continued to charge. Everett hit the ground. Yveltal then blasted at Everett. Everett remained resolute. He waited until the perfect moment and then cast Confuse Ray. The attack hit Yveltal, knocking him off balance and sending him into the wall. Everett followed this up with a Moonblast. As soon as the attack hit, the Life Ruby went flying. Yveltal sat there silently for a moment. He opened his eyes and saw Everett standing there over the ruby. Everett picked it up. Walking to Chess, he looked into his friend's stony eyes and pressed the ruby to him, but nothing happened.
Fool, Yveltal said. It has no power to give life, only take. And what it takes, I devour. Your friend is gone and nothing can bring him back.
Tears streaming down his cheeks, Everett smashed the ruby to pieces. Approaching Yveltal, he stood over him. He readied the next Moonblast. Yveltal smiled.
Good. You're strong. Use that strength and take my life. Perpetuate the cycle. After all, this is what life is about.
Everett stood there. Deep down, he really wanted to do it. How many did this Pokemon kill? How many years of his life did he exist on now, stolen from others? He should do this. It would be a public service. But he stopped. No, I'm not like you. Yveltal was confused.
What?
I'm not going to give you what you want. Your ruby's gone, and now you're defeated. That's enough. Yveltal began to laugh.
You're so naive. Fine, let me live. I'll only come back and kill more of your friends. This is life, boy, and life is nothing without death. So long as the tree of life exists in this world, so too will I. And even if I'm not killing, others will take my place. That's the way of things. So kill me now, or I will just roam free and continue to kill.
Who said you were gonna roam free? That's not justice. No, you want to kill, and you want to be killed. What I have planned for you is worse. I'm gonna make you live the rest of what's left of your stolen years in a cage. Hidden, forgotten. Your days will be marked only by the rising and setting of the sun. The only watch to count how much time you've got left. And you'll spend however long that is thinking about me. That's my victory. You'll die one day by natural causes. And until that time, I'll leave you maddeningly bored. So much so that you'll beg for death, but won't get it. That's what I feel is just. I have to suffer without my brother, and now you do too. Everett began to walk away.
Wait! Get back here, Yveltal cried out. Kill me! Kill me!
Yveltal was taken into custody, placed into maximum security. The truth about the life ruby was exposed. When questioned about it, Mayor Sparks, as well as Emperos of the Expedition Society and Wigglytuff of the Wigglytuff Guild all told the same story. They heard about the ruby from a mysterious Ditto. Everett didn't know who this Ditto was, but surmised that they had their own dark desires. He promised that he would be there to stand against them if they were ever threatening his friends. The village hailed Team Oren as their heroes, making a statue in their honor, dedicating it to Chess and all the other expeditioners who lost their lives in defense of the village. And so, they began to rebuild, trying to return to a normal life. Everett stood in the Team Oren Guild HQ, his black fur returning since he stowed away the moon pearl. His back was turned to the door. Charlie, large and imposing, was on his right, and to his left was the ever-wise Bill. From the door behind, Kenny drew closer. Everett turned to face her. You know, this position was held by a person who can and will never be replaced, but it feels wrong to leave it empty. This is what Chess would want. And so, Fennekin Ember, the position may pass to you should you take the oath. Are you ready? She nodded. Then follow my words. I, Fennekin Ember, do solemnly swear to uphold justice, protect those in danger, and serve selflessly as I adventure through the world, the discoveries I make going to help all of Pokekind. Kenny repeated the words. Everett smiled. Welcome to the guild, Kenny. From there, the team celebrated at Bill and Charlie's farm. And as the day drew to a close, Everett sat out on the porch, watching the sun set. Kenny sat down next to him. What you did was really amazing. The rest of the world is starting to talk about the Oran Village Explorers Guild. Everett nodded. It's a dream come true. I just wish Chess could be here to see it. Kenny then spoke. Maybe he's watching us now. Maybe. I hope so. Everett looked up to the clouds. Chess was gone, but their dream lived on. And so long as his lungs held breath and fire was in his eyes, he would keep exploring. Just like his father before him, and just like Chess would have. Everett smiled. So, what's our next adventure? And that's gonna be it. This was a very long story. As said, this story was one near and dear to me, and I'm glad I could share it with you. I wanted to try something a little new. We always do what-ifs, and they always end up being their own little stories, closer to fan fiction than a proper what-if. So I thought, since we're broadening our horizons a little, why don't we try something new with the stories as well, and make a full original story based in the Pokemon IP. Of course, this isn't going to be an every video thing, just testing the waters. However, if you enjoyed the story, maybe we'll continue with a sequel or something. Be honest and let me know your opinions down in the comments, and if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. Anyway, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when more videos like this drop. And while you're at it, check out these other videos. I'm sure you'll enjoy them too. Until next time, peace out.